Hello everybody, this one's going to be a bit different. It's going to be shorter, maybe, I'm guessing. It's because normally it comes out on Thursday, but I'm going away for a magical um countrywide, no, that's wrong. A magical bucolic retreat uh break weekend. You know, a lot of those words appear in the brochure for the thing I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing it on Thursday and also Friday, so I won't be able to upload the thing because one of the things apparently they have is that you're not allowed to do internet stuff because it's supposed to be a relaxing weekend, and for some reason they think that taking my only means of expression and communication with other human beings away from me is going to be relaxing. But that's a different. I'm not bitter. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. So instead, what I'm going to do is I just Googled a Tumblr survey because I keep seeing things on my Tumblr saying, which number? Send me a number. And there's a number, and the numbers are just all questions, and they want a number. Why don't just answer all the questions I don't know? That's I suppose if you're 14 years old, that's a thing. I don't know. Anyway, so this is just going to be all one big, long podcast. There's not going to be any gaps in it or any sort of anything. So I just downloaded one of them. I haven't read the questions yet, so it's going to be as much of a surprise to you as it is to me. I will have to make up answers on the fly. I haven't prepared anything. I've just copied and pasted the survey that I got when I typed Tumblr survey questions into Google. So here we go. Yeah, that's not. Anyway, here we go. What does the last text you sent say, and to whom? Well, now you see that construction there is off for a start. Oh God, hang on, I'll just get my telephone. If you're not going to do the grammar properly, you shouldn't be typing. Here we go. Telephone. Hello, telephone. Hello, Barry. It's going to be the future, isn't it? Let's see now. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Messaging. Here we go. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Here we go. The last text message I sent says, is it? And that was to my wife. And there's no exciting story around that. And the second question is, what does the last text you received say, and from whom? Again, the grammar. Last text I received is from my wife, and it says yes. Okay, so that's the first two questions. Third question: what time do you wake up most mornings? I usually wake up at the ungodly hour of the afternoon, about noon, because I do a lot of stuff in the night time. Writing and collecting my items on Facebook games. I do a lot of that in the night time. I'm kind of sleepwalking through most of the days, to be honest. I only wake up when the sun hits the ground. And then I start writing, and then the world trembles, etc., etc. So I don't do mornings at all. You see some people say, oh, I don't do mornings. What they mean is they're just kind of slow, or they don't want to talk to people. I just don't actually do mornings in the sense that I'm unconscious for them. And then I stay up till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the night time typing. So I guess from the outside it might look like I'm extremely lazy and completely without any motivation, but I write every day and a lot, and I put stuff online all the time. And I don't think I'm lazy. But maybe lazy people don't think they're lazy either, so I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. I've got more this morning. Fourth question. Are you afraid of walking alone at night? No. In fact, I find it preferable. Maybe it's because I'm a guy. I don't know what the woman experience is. I don't know. I know a lot of women are afraid of walking alone at night, even though men are overwhelmingly the victims of violent assault in that particular category. So maybe being afraid of something doesn't tell you anything at all about that thing. I'm afraid of spiders. What does that tell you about spiders? I mean, I'm terrified of spiders. But what does that tell you about spiders? What? Next question. What do you do to relax at the end of a stressful day? Minecraft, typing. I like writing. Stop. Full stop. I know it sounds like there was more to that sentence because of the way I phrased it and the cadence and the intonation. I like writing, but I like writing. Full stop. That's it. Both the cause of and the solution to all stresses is art. Next one is, where did your last kiss take place? Oh god, this is for little kids. This is for teenagers, isn't it, this quiz? This, I'm going to try and... Sorry, I just realised this quiz is probably for teenagers. Where did your last kiss take place and with whom? Well, I'm married. So, my wife and here. Right? That's not exciting. That's not interesting. Did you get into trouble a lot at school? Is the next question. Not really. I mean, I was that kind of weird. Like, normally, the school thing is usually goes one of two ways. Either you're clever and the teachers kind of like you, and you're not cool, or you're kind of sporty and you're cool, and the teachers, then if the only teachers who like you are the PE teachers. And if the PE teachers are the only teachers who like you, that's a really bad sign. Right? Because PE teachers are all... What's the word you'd use? Subhuman, I suppose. If you don't have to be charitable about it, subhuman. Right? And if they're the only kind of people who get you, or who like you, or who encourage you, you're in big trouble. Right? That's an alarm bell. You should go home at night saying, wait a minute, how come these gorillas seem to be responding positively to me? These Nazis like me. That's not a good sign. But they never think like that, do they? So I didn't get in trouble at school, but I wasn't one of those cool people who was sporty and that the PE teacher at my school, one of them liked me so badly that he stood on me one day. And he stood on me. I was sitting on the ground and he stood on my foot. And I got up and I said, what are you doing? Well, come on, man. And he put his fist up in the air, right in my face, and he said, go on, he said. Go on, he said. Do you want to hit me? Go on, he said. With his fist right up in the air. To a kid. That's the kind of mentality you're dealing with the PE teachers I had. I had no intention of hitting anyone. I just didn't like people standing on me. Did you get into trouble a lot at school? Not really. No, I didn't. That was like one or two incidents, really. That's all. The kids didn't get me. The teachers didn't get me. That's not getting into trouble. Mostly they just didn't understand anything I was saying, or any of my motivations, or any of my goals. So not understanding isn't getting into trouble. So no, I didn't get into trouble. My next question is, do you enjoy your job? If unemployed, are you content being so? Alright, I had a job. I ran a jeweler's shop for 10 years and it was fantastic. I liked it a lot. If unemployed, I'm unemployed right now. Are you content being so? Not really. I mean, I'm going to keep working, regardless of whether I'm being paid or not. But I would prefer to be paid for the work I'm doing, at the risk of stating the obvious. And I think, again, this is something that's going to be your judgment rather than mine, but I think the quality is definitely at the level where I could be paid for it. Right? My writing is at that quality. And it does sound like I'm blowing smoke up my own ass, but I don't care. Someone asked the question and now I'm answering it. My writing is at that quality where I could be paid for it. Right? The next one is, do you often pick up on double entendre and innuendo? Yeah, I do. I do. Because I spend a lot of time making them in my head and not saying them out loud. So when someone else says something, I'll pick up on it. Right? And if it's not there, I'll make one. I can do that for pretty much any sentence. I mean, not that it's particularly clever or anything. I mean, it's not like a superhuman ability. It just means I have a lot of free time. So yeah, I do. Next question. Have you ever been offered drugs but declined? Yes, frequently. I went to a university, so yeah, all the time. There was one time, I used to live in Shandon in Cork, which is not the best area. And as I said in a previous question, I used to walk alone in the night time. I used to walk around all the time on my own in the middle of the night. And Shandon kind of slopes down to the river. And one time I went down to the river and I was just looking at the river. And the river it's a big ass river, but in the night time it just looks like a black sheet of glass. And sometimes it doesn't make much noise at all. And I found that fascinating. It was a completely different animal in the night time than it was in the day. Of course, it's just your interpretation, but I was still fascinated by it. So I was looking in the river, and some cop comes up next to me, and he said something. I forget the words he used, but he definitely said something, which he only would have said if he thought I was thinking about jumping in. But he wouldn't make it obvious, like, but he would only have said that if he thought I was going to jump in. So he must have thought I was going to suicide. And I said, no, I'm fine, thank you. I'm perfectly happy. I just like looking at the river. Like, it's not calling to me or anything. So he went away. And then I went back up home, and on the way home I met this guy. And the guy came up to me and he said, "Are you?" In the lovely Cork way they say, "Are you all right for gear?" Which is much better in the Cork accent. Gear meaning drugs. He said, "Are you all right for gear?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine, thanks." And he said, "Do you ever engage with the gear?" Again, he said it in his own way. "Do you ever?" And I said, "No, never, not once." And he said, "Do you smoke regular cigarettes?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Do you drink alcohol?" Oh, he didn't. And then again, I'm paraphrasing him, right? He said, "Do you drink alcohol?" I said, "No." "Never." I said, "No, no, no, never. I never had a drink." Which is true. I told him the truth, because I suppose when you're dealing with drug dealers, you really have to. And he said, "This is good for you." He said, "You keep that up." He says, "You're living a healthy life." And he just goes off. So, have I ever been offered drugs and declined? Yes, many times, and that was one of those times. When the drug dealer in Shandon commended my healthy lifestyle. Little did he know I was drinking 6 litres of Coke and a Golden Wonder pot noodles at 6 o'clock every day and nothing else. I lived on about 6 litres of Coke and a Golden Wonder pot noodles every day for about 3 years. Unless I came home and then my mother made me some proper food. But that's basically it. It turns out you can live on Coca-Cola and Golden Wonder pot noodles and everything works out fine. We worry about these things too much. Oh, bloody hell, sorry, my machine just went into standby mode. I can't see anything. Shemao! There we go. Now, the next one is, have you ever met someone who has completely altered your way of thinking? Oh, yes. Of course. Many times. I'm not going to name names. But there are people who have completely altered my way of thinking. My wife, obviously. But there have been others. I like people who have something new to offer, you know, when I'm hanging around with them. Like, there's no point in hanging around with a bunch of people who are just going to validate everything you already think. Like, how are you ever going to make any progress? You need someone who's a little bit unstable, or at the very least, very open-minded. So when you say something, they don't just drag you back to where you were. When you say something, they're like, "Oh, okay, let's see where this goes," right? That's the kind of people you want. Even if it's total gibberish, right? It's still the way to approach things. Like, you could say, "Oh, if there was a zombie apocalypse, what would be the first thing you'd go for, you know? If everyone was all wiped out and we had nothing, what would you do first?" There's always some prick who's going to say, "Well, zombies are not real, and an apocalypse would never happen." You know, yeah, I know. Like, that's not helping me. I know. I can look out the window and say, yes, there is grass and trees. That's not helpful. So, I like people who are going to bring something to a conversation. And then there is the danger that they might alter my way of thinking. Because the best way to alter your way of thinking is to come around at an angle. Because your brain will naturally want to just stay where it is. You have to work if you want to progress. And sometimes you have to look at things from a funny angle that you haven't seen before to make progress on an issue. Like, if you have a problem, whatever it is in your life, and you're going at it with a hammer and nothing's happening, you know, just try something else. Alright? It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's not the hammer. Think if you're looking for something, right? Say you're looking for your car keys, and where they usually are, they're not there, right? And then you look maybe on the table, they're not on the table, and you look next to the microwave, and they're not next to the microwave, right? Now, you're going to have to look in places where they would not normally be. That's basically it. So when you look at somewhere, and somebody else says, "Oh, your keys, they wouldn't be there." Yeah, I know. That's why I'm looking there. Because I know where they're not. And where they're not is where they normally are. Right? But if you just go around in a circle, constantly checking the table next to the microwave, the table next to the microwave, the table, you're never going to find the keys. You have to break out and come in at a funny angle and look somewhere you'd never think of looking normally. The windowsill. In the bathroom. Sure, how could my keys be in the bathroom? I didn't even go into the bathroom. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that the bathroom is not next to the microwave and it's not on the table. So go look. Even if you know for a fact they're not there, you should do it anyway, just to break your head out of that cycle. Put down the hammer. It's not working, right? There you go. Have you ever been offered drugs and accepted? No. I always thought of drugs as being a complete waste of my time. Oh, I've no moral obligation. Certainly hope not. I've no moral objections to drugs. Like, if you take all the drugs in the world, I don't care. It's not. I'm not judging anybody. But I always thought it would be a phenomenal waste of time and money. Time that I could be spent reading, and money that I could be spending on books. That's basically it. If I ever was going to try drugs, it wouldn't be alcohol. For God's sake, how boring. It'd be LSD. Because I like looking at shiny pictures, and I've been told that you see shiny pictures in your head if you take LSD. So if I was going to do any drugs, it'd be that one. Here we go. Next question. Tell us something weird that turns you on. Something weird that turns me on. I'm afraid all the things that turn me on are surprisingly banal. Like, they'll be in the top 5 of any porn site. That thing that I like will be there. Or those things. So, nothing weird, really. The next question is, when did someone last admit romantic or sexual feelings for you? Was the feeling mutual? Yeah, all the time. My wife. This is assuming you're not married, right? Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Again, I think it's for teenagers. Maybe not teenagers. I don't know how they're pitching this. When did someone last admit romantic or sexual feelings for you? Was the feeling mutual? Every day, my wife. Yes. What is something you've given a lot of thought to lately? That's the next question. What is something you have given a lot of thought to lately? I've been trying. I run a philosophy blog, and I've been trying to figure out, because you remember the first podcast I did, and a comment under the first one of these things was write about postmodernism, right? So I took that seriously from Kate Power. So I took that seriously, and I thought about how I'm going to say anything about postmodernism, and then I realized I couldn't just riff on it. I'd have to write it, because everything is it's a slippery fish. Postmodernism. As soon as you get a hold on it, it pops off again. So I went into my philosophy blog, and I said, look, I'm going to write something about postmodernism first, and then I'm going to use that, pretty much read it out, I suppose, for the podcast. And I've been trying to do that for the last however long these podcasts have been going. I've been actually at it the whole time, and I've made almost no progress whatsoever. So I suppose my attempt to write about postmodernism is an allegory for postmodernism itself. But unlike postmodernism, I will eventually finish that article, and then I will do the podcast. So I've been giving a lot of thought through, not so much to postmodernism, but to how to write about it. And also the nature of time. Because I'm trying to get my head... for the last 2 years, I've been trying to get my head around Heidegger's being and time. Sein und Zeit. And I'm trying to figure out what he meant and what it means to be rooted in time. And the more I think about it, the more it's... I think that we're thinking about time the whole wrong way. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about it now because it's boring, but we think of time as though we're... I don't know, it might not even be a real thing. You know? Like the way we conceptualize time might not be real. Things just might sort of just happen. And I don't know. I mentioned this in the Star Trek thing as well, that if you're in Ireland and you call somebody in New York and they're reliably 5 hours behind you, right? What time is it? It's 5 o'clock. So where you are, it's 12 o'clock. Yeah. But if we went to Mars, and Mars is like really close, like in galaxy terms, it's really close. It's really far away in Ireland local shop terms, but on galaxy terms, Mars is really close. And if someone is on Mars and they're zipping around the planet at a different rate, and that planet is rotating at a different rate, and you phone someone on Mars and you say it's 12 o'clock here, that doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless. Just the short distance to Mars. And then there's just traveling to Mars changes the time. It changes how time passes on Earth if you're in motion to Mars. And I assume they're going to get there, they're going to move that ship as fast as they can. And the faster you go, it'll be cheap to move something fast through space because there's no resistance. So as soon as you accelerate to a speed, you can just coast to that speed forever. You don't have to constantly put petrol in like you do in a car. because of the resistance. There's no resistance in space. You can just carry on at your initial speed and just thruster every so often. So they'll be going at a fair clip, and that will distort time for them and for us then, I suppose, if we're dealing with them. So how are you going to... It doesn't make any sense. Time might not be a real thing. If it's relative for everybody, that doesn't make much sense. Like, I can walk to the shops, and I can tell somebody else how to walk to the shops, and they can walk to the shops and come back again. That's space, but time doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. That's something I've been thinking about lately, as well as the postmodernism. Holy shit, postmodernism. When did you last swallow your beliefs to avoid an argument or confrontation? Oh, that's a good question. When did you last swallow your beliefs to avoid an argument or confrontation? I am not known as someone who would swallow my beliefs to avoid an argument or confrontation. In fact, I normally welcome arguments or confrontations because I tend not to have strong opinions about things unless I understand them. You know? Like, if I'm not into something, I don't care. So if I do get into an argument, I'm probably going to win. Right? It's not because I'm particularly smart or anything. It's because I only choose to get into these situations on issues where I've read a lot and I understand the thing and I probably know more than whoever I'm arguing with. And after that, it goes one of two ways. Either they get embarrassed that they started shit with me that they didn't understand, or and then of course when they get embarrassed they start shouting at me. It happens sometimes. Like, nah, 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 shut up, shut up, shut up, you know. Or if they're smarter, they'll take an opportunity to develop a different side of their opinion. And those people tend not to shout at me. They'll say things like, "Oh, why do you think that?" Or "Where did you get that idea from?" And by God, that's the way to talk to me. Not, "You shouldn't be saying those things," or "I had a personal experience that makes your opinion invalid." Good God, who gives a damn about your personal experience, man? That's nothing to do with anything. I'm talking about ideas here, right? I have no interest in talking about people. Talking about people and getting concerned about what people are getting up to, that's gossip. Couldn't give a shit. Small-minded trash. Talking about ideas. Now we're good. Talking about abstracts. You see? That's what clever people do. We talk about abstracts. Yeah, but I met a guy and my aunt said this and couldn't give a shit. Right? Couldn't give a shit. Talk to me about ideas. Tell me about your ideas and why you have them. Right? And if you don't like my ideas, explain to me why you don't like them. Explain to me where I'm going wrong and how I can fix them. But just telling me to be quiet and shouting at me, man, that is not going to work. That's going to make it worse for you. Because as soon as you start shouting at me, then I'm incentivized to drive you into the ground, and I will, because I know more about it than you do. And you started it. Right? But if I don't know anything about something, I'll either shut up, I'll pull back, or I'll ask questions. Because it might be something I want to know about. If I don't know enough about something, I'll say, well, why do you think that? Where did that come from? Why do you believe this? Why do you think that's a good idea? Why do you think this is a bad idea? Because you never know. You can learn from everybody. Oh, I firmly believe, by the way, that, you know, I call people stupid and so on, but that's just me being flippant. No one's really stupid, you know what I mean? They're all just clever in different ways. So, I firmly believe that everybody has something to offer at the highest level. Has something to offer at the highest level. And that I could benefit from a discussion with that person on that topic. I don't think I've ever met anybody where I just said, wow, there's really nothing going on there. There's always something happening. Assuming you don't have some kind of condition that prevents you from higher thought processes. Right? Always. So when did you last swallow your beliefs to avoid an argument or confrontation? I have done it. I'm not proud of it. But I'll usually only do it if I'm with someone else. If I'm on my own, nah, fuck it, man. I will destroy you. But I don't like the idea that someone else might feel some contact badness as a result if I'm with them. So swallow your beliefs to avoid an argument or confrontation. No. Generally, no, but I have done it. Next question. Do you usually initiate hugs? No. I do not like people touching me. I do not usually initiate hugs. If you hug me, then okay, but I'd prefer if you didn't. Are you a very affectionate person? No. No, I'm pretty cold. Cold in the good way. Can you roll your own cigarettes? No. I don't smoke. I never have. I cannot roll my own cigarettes. And I'm not... That doesn't bother me. What are you looking forward to? Ooh, lots of things. I'm always looking forward to things that I write. I'm looking forward to... I see. This is going to sound poncy, right? But you're just going to have to put up with it, right? The next bit is going to sound... And you're all just going to have to put up with it. I'm looking forward to doing stuff like adventure stuff with my wife. Not sex stuff, although I'm looking forward to that too, but I'm not going to get into that. Kind of going out and doing stuff with my wife. Like going places and meeting people and so on. I look forward to that. Normally, by the way, normally I'm not one for going places and doing things. Normally I couldn't give a shit. I just want to stay where I am and leave me alone. But I do look forward to that. And I look forward to writing things. Like whenever I'm writing something, like I'm writing the thing about postmodernism now, and I'm looking forward to it. I like it. I think it's fantastic. And it's a pain in the ass, and it's very difficult, but I look forward to it, and I think it's fun. The next question is, do you have any tattoos? Do you want more? I have one tattoo. It's on my forearm, and it says Quis custodiet ipsos custodes, which is Latin for who watches the watchmen. And it's carved into my arm forever to remind me that it's a very important question. Do you want any more? If I was going to get another one, it would be the Gonzo knife, the Gonzo dagger with the two thumbs on the fist, on the same arm, but on the shoulder kind of arm, the shoulder part of it. That's my next plan, Gonzo fist on the other one. It's like a fist with two thumbs holding a rose and a knife coming out the bottom of it. I really like that. I like what it stands for and I like the design. Next question is, are you mentally strong? Yes. Yes, I am. Man, I pity any ISIS people who get a hold of me and try to torture me for information. Good luck with that, fuckos. Are you physically strong? No. I'm not strong at all. I mean, I have stamina, but that's not strength. I'm not strong. The next question is, do you think you're a good person? Well, that's a stupid question. Because no matter what I answer, no matter what anybody answers, everybody always thinks they're a good person. Like if they say no to it, they're just being stupid. And if they say yes to it, there's no way to judge. You can't judge if you're a good person yourself. That's like, you know, when the guards get into trouble and they say, "Oh, don't worry, we're having an internal inquiry." And everybody goes, "What the why? You're having an internal inquiry." Well, isn't that very good of you? Right? Asking someone if they're a good person is asking someone to do an internal inquiry on themselves. And it's just the same level of bullshit. You need some sort of civilian oversight there. Right? That information can only come from outside your brain. So if you really want to know if you're a good person, ask people who don't like you. Ask people who have no interest in coddling you. Ask people who you suspect don't like you. Right? Don't ask people ask your friends. Hey, am I a good person? Yeah, you're great. Of course, like, that doesn't mean anything. Go find someone who doesn't like you, or that you don't really get along with, or who's utterly independent, that you don't hang out with much or whatever, I don't know, and just say, do you think I'm a good person, and why? Right? Then you'll find out. And at the very least, you're going to find out something that you can probably improve on in your personality, even if you don't use the... I mean, good and bad. I don't believe in good and bad, like. I don't believe everybody's a good... anyone's a good person or a bad person. I know it's hard to believe in a world full of unpleasantness and people doing bad things, but I don't think there's bad people. I don't think you can use those words to describe people, good and bad. I think there's people who do good and bad things, there are people who make terrible choices, but I don't think you can be a bad person or a good person. You know? I don't think it works like that. I don't think it makes sense. That's just me. Do you think you're a good person? No. Not because I think I'm a bad person, but because I don't think that you can describe someone as a good person. I try to do good things. I try to make good choices. But I can only imagine that whoever, like, think of someone you think is a bad person right now. That person would say exactly the same thing. They'd say, I try to be a good person, I try to make good choices. And if they don't say it out loud, they're definitely thinking it. So, again, it doesn't make a difference. It can only be validated externally. That kind of judgment is completely subjective. And it doesn't mean anything. So I don't know, the only person here is my wife. There's no point in asking her if she married me. She's going to think I'm good, isn't she? Or she'd say no just for the purposes of humour. So that's no good either. Next question. Name one thing you wish you could change about your life right now. Oh, that's a good question as well. Name one thing you wish you could change about your life right now. That's a good question. Name one thing you wish you could change about your life right now. Really? I mean, that's not really changing something about my life. I mean, I have a fantastic life, you know? I'm really lucky. Like, it's not like I did anything to deserve any of this. But I'm married to a fantastic person. And I get to write all day. And I'm not, like, I have somewhere to live and I'm not short of food. You know, I'm very low maintenance. I'm very easy to please. I'm very easy to keep happy. If you just leave me alone and give me a keyboard attached to something, then we're fine. You see? I suppose change. I'd like to be paid for the writing. That's it, really. And I think I will, as long as I keep writing and keep sending stuff places. And if I finish this flippin' book I've been working on for the last 25 years, I think I'll sell it, and then that'll kind of roll along, and I'll keep writing more. And that's what I'd like to change. I'd like to be paid for the writing. The last question is, what do you usually eat for breakfast? Well, that question is obviated by an answer to an earlier question when I said I don't wake up until noon. I wake up at the crack of noon, at an ungodly hour of the afternoon. I do not eat breakfast. Even when I get up early, I don't eat breakfast. I don't know why, I just always feel sick in the morning. If I get up early, I feel sick. I feel unwell, and I don't feel like eating anything. And until about the time when I would have woken up anyway, about midday, and then I'll start eating something. If by breakfast you mean the first thing you eat after you wake up, as opposed to the thing you eat in the morning. Okay, let's say the first thing I eat would be, I don't know, Mars bar and a can of Coke. That would be my first thing to eat, a Mars bar and a can of Coke. That's how I keep this remarkable physique and how I look so young. Mars bar and a can of Coke for breakfast. That is the final question. That was 26 questions, and they weren't numbered, they were lettered, but whatever, doesn't matter. I've done it now. And that's it. That is today's podcast, and I hope you learned a little bit of something about me. I don't give a shit, sorry. I answered them honestly, but I don't think you learned anything. Sorry about that. And maybe it's for the best that I keep you all at a respectful distance. The closer people get to me, the more they realise I'm just an asshole. Why don't you do whatever the hell you want? That's it, I'm finished. This was a short one, as I said, because I won't be able to do anything on Thursday. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please tell your friends. If you didn't like it, please tell everyone you know. Feel free to subscribe it and like it and thumbs up it and hit the little subscribe button and so on and so forth. And I am